Hey guys, Mark here. In this video, I'm going to show you how I print 44K a day using almost exclusively image ads. If you've never cracked image ads before, you probably don't know why they're actually so great. So let me first tell you why image ads are so amazing. All right, number one is that you can iterate so quickly. I believe that money loves speed, and if you can move quick and you can test angles extremely fast, it's a fantastic way to get your brand off the ground and even to scale it and just test new concepts without having to send stuff to a video editor or edit videos yourself. And then number two, just in the context of AI, is going to be you can create these 100% yourself. You don't need an editor. And with some of the tools I'm going to show you in this video, you can literally make like a full batch of like 20 creatives that are really, really high quality without a designer in under an hour. It's just absolutely absurd. And if you think that like harder to make money with image ads, it's actually not true. You can make a lot of money with image ads, sometimes even more than videos. The one caveat that I want to say about image ads is that typically they tend to die out and get fatigued a little bit faster. But if you're just starting out, it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about fatigue with a specific creative until you get to like 10 to 50K in spend for that particular creative. But let's not talk about that for now. Let's actually talk about how to create these image ads, because I really believe this is one of the most underrated things in e-commerce right now, because everybody is just obsessed with videos. And when everybody's doing one thing, you ideally want to go and do the other. Now, what most people try to do when it comes to creating image ads is they'll go on Facebook ads library, they'll go on Get Hooked, they'll find some pretty decent looking image ad, they'll pop into ChatGPT and say, hey, remake this, but for my brand. And it ends up looking like AI generated shit show that is not going to convert anybody. There's no emotional triggers whatsoever. And then you throw it up in your ad account, put some spend behind it, and wonder why you're not a millionaire overnight. Well, your ads actually suck. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the process that you can use to actually tap into these emotional angles, because in the same way that you have like a hook with a video ad, you have the same thing with a static image, but the hook in and of itself is the creative, and the power in the hook is basically created in one of two ways, right? The first way is in what we call like a transformation, right? So I went from X to Y. So I was in this terrible, terrible state. I was super, super overweight. And then boom, I took this magic pill and now I'm 225 pounds, lean, six pack, shredded. I benched 500 pounds. All the girls won me. It's amazing, right? That's a transformational hook. I went from this, the nightmare situation, to this, the ultimate dream scenario. So that's number one. The other type of hook that is super powerful is just the first half, which is basically only going to be the nightmare, right? Now, these are a little bit more tricky for you to figure out, but with the nightmare transformation, you essentially want to create a static image that is centered around the nightmare scenario. So imagine like a super overweight person looking down at a scale, and instead of the scale saying like 300 pounds or whatever, it just says like, you're fat, you know? Like that's the nightmare situation for somebody who's struggling with their weight, for example. The reason this is a little bit more tricky is because there's not the emotional contrast. And in the process I'm going to show you guys in just one second, you can actually use AI to find these very specific transformations so that you don't even have to come up with these yourself. Like I am quite literally spoon feeding you motherfuckers exactly what you need to do to create winning static ads at scale that print you crazy cash. The first step in this entire process is just to actually do your research, okay? And now, of course, yes, we're going to use AI for this process, but you could fuck up everything else. If you get this one part right, I promise you, you're already ahead of like 99% of entrepreneurs out there, because what they do is exactly what I said in the beginning. They just like scroll in the ad library or look on Get Hooked and they try to just replicate an ad, not really knowing the deep emotional triggers that is going to get somebody to buy. You don't just guess. This is what I really believe about AI, guys, long term, where there's not going to be a game of guessing and testing to see if an ad is going to be successful. You have all the research in the world, all these AI tools in your belt. Why would you not use them to validate if this trigger is going to work or not before you put any ad spend behind it? Like just the risk and barrier to entry is so freaking low. It's absolutely absurd. And so with the research process, again, what we're really looking for is the hook, like the transformation, the specific quotes, the voice of the customer, right? And so what we do to actually get the research is we follow my foundational docs resource, which is essentially a series of 4 different documents that you use, yes, AI to create. But when you have these, when you feed these into AI, you're able to create images that are like 100 times better than if you were to just like type your own little prompt into ChatGPT or to another like text to image software. So let's quickly create the foundational docs, because this is going to be one of the most valuable things that you learn in this video. So I'll make sure to, drop the link below this video, but here's the SOP. Once again, spoon fed. All right. All you have to do, let's go to problem number 1. We're going to go over to ChatGPT. The model that you want to be using in this particular case is going to be 4.0. That's all you need to do for these initial prompts before we get into any deep research, right? So you're basically going to paste this in and fill in some information. So I did a little bit of research before this particular video and I found this brand here. that if we open up the similar web, we can see that they're doing 300,000 visitors per month. But more importantly, they are scaling, and they're scaling, relatively moderately aggressively, which is fantastic. And there's just so much that we can tap into, like with this particular angle. I haven't made the ads yet, but this is going to be fun. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to use this extension right up here and hit capture entire page. Again, this is like a free extension, I think, but all it's going to do is screenshot the entire sales page here so that I can feed this into AI to help create a prompt to go and actually do the deep research. So because if you're just like a total novice with using AI, you're going to write your own prompts. You should have AI writing prompts for you. And that's what we're doing with this initial step. So let's go ahead and save this PDF. And then we're going to go back into chat, upload that PDF right there. And as soon as it's load, we're going to hit enter. While that's going, let's move on to prompt 2. All right, we can go through this super duper fast. So we're going to paste prompt 2. And once again, we're just going to upload these 2 documents here and here, and let it run. So we hit enter there. Let's move on to the next prompt. We just paste it right in. We're going to hit enter. And now we actually have the fun part. So that entire, 3 prompt process right there was literally just for us to get an actually good prompt that we can resend into a new prompt inside of ChatGPT and enable deep research, right? So we're going to go to the bottom, hit copy, and go to a new window, hit paste, and make sure we delete any of this nonsense up here that is just totally not necessary. And same thing at the bottom. And then we're going to go to tools. We are going to hit deep research and hit enter. Every single time you run deep research, and honestly, this is like a pet peeve of mine, ChatGPT will ask you a few questions. So let's just quickly answer those. All right, so we hit enter after answering those questions. And now as you can see, it's starting the research. So let's fast forward through this fucking shit. Alrighty, so here we are. We got the entire research document completely done here. As you can see, this is just, I can't even tell you how much freaking gold there is in this entire, many multiple page long research. And the best part is this is only one of the foundational documents, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this entire thing and go ahead and paste it into a document and save that document, download it as a docx, and just keep it in your back pocket. In the meantime, let's move on to the next prompt. We're just going to copy this right here, go into ChatGPT, paste it, attach the avatar sheet template, and hit enter. All right, so we got the full avatar sheet. Same process as before, guys. We're just going to upload this into Google Doc, download it, and keep it in your back pocket. And let's move on to next prompt, which is going to be this one right here. So let's copy this, paste it in, attach the opera brief document, and hit enter. All right, now we're going to move on to the necessary beliefs, which is the final document here. So let's copy all this text right here, go back into chat, paste it in, and hit enter. All right, and the very final prompt here, let's go ahead and copy all this. We're going to reattach the 3 documents that we already have so we can complete the final document, which is the necessary beliefs document. We're going to paste that right in and hit enter. Alrighty, so at this stage, we have all the foundational docs actually created. So like the first step is done, the boring part is done, and now we can move on and have some fun and start creating these creatives, okay? So like I said, the first process is research, first step, right? That's done. Step number 2 is going to be to identify the existing proven formats that are actually working in the market right now. So when it comes to like testing static ads, I typically follow the 80-20 principle, which means 80% of the testing that I do is iterations of existing winners. Now, if you don't have successful ads in your account yet, that means that you can go to a tool like Get Hooked, which I'll show you, and you can identify winning creatives and just have AI remake those. Simple as that, all right? That's number 1. If you have winning static ads already, you can upload those as references and make iterations. The other 20% is going to be completely new concepts that you create from scratch, okay? So let's just act as if this is a brand that we've never actually ran before. We have 0 static ads running whatsoever. What we're gonna do is open a new tab and go over to Get Hooked. And all I'm looking for here right now is existing winning ads that are running in the supplement space. So let me show you the exact criteria that I'm going to select here because this is very important, right? So for performance, we're going to do 4 and 5 star. Ad format is going to be image. Static ad style, we're going to leave that blank for now. Status is still running. Runtime is going to be a minimum of 7 days. Language is going to be English. Channels, let's do Facebook and Instagram. Creative usage, let's do more than 3. And brand active ads, I want to see a minimum of 100 ads in the ad library. All right. And that's going to be it for these filters. So let's quickly identify, right, some pretty good creatives, specifically statics that I like, that kind of like stand out. You have like traditional before and afters, comparisons. Those will be pretty easy. Like one thing when it comes to creating static images, guys, is like there's a lot of format. And that's one cool thing about Get Hooked that you can actually do is the static ad style, right? If you only want to see before and afters, boom, all the before and afters, right? If you only want to see FAQ explainers, boom, you have them all there. So there's a bunch of different styles that you can kind of play around with. And of course, you can always just scroll through like I am and find some good formats, right? So the first thing that I want to do is, let's see, let me find one that stands out here. I actually really like the format of this creative right here. Let me zoom in to make sure that you guys can see it, but it is technically before and after, but it's animated. Like one of the risks with running before and afters is you're very likely to get that ad rejected and potentially even your entire ad account shut down. So I don't necessarily recommend them, but if they're animated like this, they're a lot more likely to be approved. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right to download media, hit that so that we have that image saved. And next step, we're going to go back to ChatGPT and open up a new window. All right, guys. So next we're going to take this prompt right here. This is another prompt that I wrote for image ad creation. Once again, you'll notice it's a prompt to write a prompt. And this is like one of the most important steps, because if you don't understand prompt engineering, you're never going to get the output that you want. And typically humans just suck at writing prompts in general. Why not use the AI for what it's good for? So if you want this entire prompt right here, just DM me the word image on IG. It's at Mark Builds Brands, and I'll send it to you over for free. So I pasted the prompt, adjusted all the custom info. Now we're going to add those 4 foundational documents that we just created before. And let's hit enter. And again, guys, you can still use the model 4.0 for this because we're doing something very, very simple. We're literally just going to be creating prompts with this, all right? So the next step, we're going to upload that wipe image, right? That example image that we found on Get Hooked with a simple line. You don't even need a prompt for this. Can you please create a prompt to recreate this image, but for my brand? So because we already did all the hard work of creating the foundational documents and having some good prompt engineering here, now we can be all lazy and chat and just say, hey, I need you to remake this now, all right? So it's going to create the prompt right here, as we can see. And what we're going to do now, this is like the most important part of this entire video. We're going to copy this section right here. That is the actual prompt. And then we're going to go over to my favorite text to image software that is on the market right now, Higgsfield. So Higgsfield.ai is a very, very high quality text to image software that you can use. And truthfully, I have no relationship with this company, and maybe I will in the future, but I'm sharing it because I use them. And I've produced a lot of winning creatives using this software right here. What's really cool is if you go down, my camera may be covering it. If you select where it says Soul, you can essentially see that there's 3 different models down here. We have Higgsfield Soul, Flux Context Max, and GPT Image. So these are obviously 3 different text to image models that you can use to create images. But what's interesting is that each of them has a very distinct advantage, right? Higgsfield Soul, for example, if you look at these 4 photos at the very top right here, very, very good for creating the most realistic UGC type images, right? Basically indistinguishable from taking photos like with an iPhone, right? A few of these down here, also same kind of thing. Flux Context, in my opinion, is really good with animation. So if you want to create like an animated woman driving a car, for example, not animated as in like a video, but like an image, very, very good at creating those. I've also made multiple winners on that. And then finally for GPT, this is the best model for adding text on an image. It's not perfect, but Higgsfield is definitely not there. Flux, in my experience, is also not there. So GPT is the closest one. So in this particular case, we're only going to use GPT for this particular brief. So let's just send this in and hit generate. But what I'll usually do, guys, is if I have an idea for a brief, I'll actually launch it on all 3 models. I'll launch it on GPT, I'll launch it on Flux, and I'll launch it on Higgsfield, and I'll see which one returns the highest quality output. But I'll tell you right now, if you're going to have text on your image creative, ChatGPT is most likely still going to be your best option. If you guys have better solutions, I'm always eager to learn. Just drop it in the comments. But for me, I produced so many winners with this model that it's what's working the best for me right now. All right, so just like that, we got the image actually super duper fast, and we can see the man boob fixed. Before, overweight dude. Again, this is not going to work if this was like a realistic image. If you try to do a weight loss before and after, oh my God, you want to talk about having compliance issues with Facebook? That is just like the perfect recipe for Zuck to hate you. But as you can see, puffy chest, gynecomastia, soft and tired physique, low libido and drive, shame and insecurity. All right. And then on the right hand side, got a guy that looks a little bit like me, not quite as good looking, unfortunately, but lean, hard chest, high energy and focus, reignited sex drive, masculine confidence. So great. So amazing. Wow. Truthfully, this is really good. A lot of times when there's a lot of text on the image, ChatGPT will totally fuck up, but it was flawless in this particular case. The reason why is because, again, all the hard work that we did before. So this entire video, I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but if you put in the work, you build the foundational documents, and you have the right prompting using AI, everything else is just so much easier from there on out. Let's do another one real quick, but in a different format, right? let's take this one as an example. Sold out in a blink. I kind of like this, and this could be a good ad potentially for retargeting, right? Maybe for cold traffic, probably not, but we're gonna hit download, upload that right into our ChatGPT. Simple prompt right here. No need to do it in a new window because we're doing super duper basic, low context window. We already did all the training. So let's just get this text to image prompt, and then we'll go ahead and paste it into Higgsfield. Once again, this one is probably going to be best for the ChatGPT model. I know I'm using ChatGPT in Higgsfield, so it's kind of ironic that I'm using Higgsfield period. But like I said, you can try to run this with other models, but with text on the image, I promise you, it's typically going to be better if you use the ChatGPT model. But if you want to do something very, very realistic, then you absolutely can. In fact, we'll do that. Just one more test after this. And here we go. We got the creative right here. Obviously, this is not going to be what the actual bottle looks like. If I wanted to add the bottle in, I could very easily. I just didn't upload a PNG file of what the bottle looks like. But this looks really good, honestly. The branding is going to change a little bit because of the bottle. But to be honest, I didn't really give it that context. So just give it the context and expect it to give you a much better output. But let's use the Higgsfield model, Higgsfield Soul specifically, just one time. So another thing that you guys can do is down here, instead of sending a swipe or an example from Get Hooked, you can just have it create one from scratch. So in this case, the prompt I use, can you create a text to prompt image for hyper-realistic image of the nightmare scenario, completely misspelled like half the words in that sentence, but fuck it. And we're going to take this entire prompt right here. Once again, very extensive. It's not always the case that like the longer the prompt is going to give you a better output. And in fact, oftentimes it's not, but you know, let's see what we can do. We're going to paste this in, select Higgsfield. I didn't even read it, but let's see what it looks like. When it comes to realistic images, by the way, once again, within Higgsfield Soul, I do like to use the realistic model. The iPhone model can work very, very well, but I truthfully stick to these two for like 90% of the ads that I'm doing. All right, and here we got the images. Now, really important caveat here. Obviously, this is not going to be something that you run on Facebook. This is literally just for example purposes, but this does show you how realistic some of the images can look. I don't know why it made his eyes look so dark, like he just got into a fight with 10 dudes and got completely fucked up, but hey, still very realistic. That's really the point. And I think you can see even by some of these images below just how realistic you can make these images look with the right prompting. In this case, I actually think that I over prompted just a little bit, but that's not the point. The point is to show you how cool this technology is and how amazing it can be if you use it correctly. Again, get creative, you know, experiment with the different models. And I promise you, you can create a creative that looks really, really good and fits the exact style that you kind of want. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you want more info like this, we literally just built an entire AI section in my mentorship program called Brand Builders Academy. So if you like this, we have stuff way better than this inside. So if you want in, you can click the first link in the description and check that out. We have a full application process. So we're very clear. We don't want to accept everybody, but if you're serious, got some capital set aside, click the link and you can apply. Other than that, I'll see you on the next video. Peace. Run more ads.